People with street smarts. What is your most street tip? If you feel like you're in an unsafe area, keep your head up, look angry and look like you know where you're going. Even when you don't, you're much more likely to be a target if you're looking around or showing signs that you're lost. If you're talking to a stranger and they start looking around as if checking for witnesses, you gotta leave quickly. If you ever get pulled over at night, immediately turn on all your lights inside your car. In my experience, it tends to relieve whatever tension the officer may have, since they can see you a little bit more clearly. Plus, it's better than having a flashlight shined in your face. If you feel like it's a setup point, it probably is. If someone is trying to rush you, don't do it. Always have an escape plan. Never have a partner in crime, they will snitch. If someone is trying to rush you, don't do it is not only true with real life on the streets action. Come over here quick, my friend is hurt. But also all sorts of scams and schemes. If someone's trying to sell you something, but they tell you they need you to buy/pay now, or lose the offer, or someone trying to convince you that you want something, but you have to claim your prize now, or lose it, or that they need your information now to resolve a dispute, or if someone tells you that you need to fix/replace a part of your car, something on your house, anything like that, and it needs to be done now. If anything like that seems fishy, again, talking about phone/internet scams mostly here, but also sketchy salesmen or door-to-door scammers, simply ask them if you can talk about it with your spouse/friend/parent/son/neighbor who knows about these sorts of things, and contact them tomorrow. The more that makes them push back about needing it done now, the less you trust them. I met this girl at the bar like 10 years ago, and we hit it off chatting for an hour or so. It was getting late, so I told her I was taking off, but would be interested in seeing her sometime. Instead of seeing her sometime, she decided to come home with me that night. We drove the whole half-mile to my apartment downtown and parked on the street. As I go to get out of the car, she doesn't want to get out and is literally stalling while texting someone. I wait for a minute or two and ask if she's texting her mom or friends that she's alright and where she's going. She says no and continues to text. I asked if she's coming up and she's like, yeah, in a few minutes. The whole situation seemed shady. She would not give me any information and kept asking me to wait, to sit with her in the car and wait. I told her she could come up, or we could just go out some other night if she didn't feel comfortable coming up right now, and nothing. After a few minutes of this, something told me to just leave, and I did. I went upstairs to my apartment, which happened to be overlooking where she parked. I kept my lights off when I went into the apartment and just stared out the window for about 15 minutes until another car pulled up. A guy got out, walked to her door, they chatted for a few seconds, and then they both drove away. I'm glad I wasn't sh-faced and noticed that she seemed off, because it probably was off. I think you were gonna get robbed, like you and your apartment stripped. Criminal'll never snitch on my boys. Cop, if you tell us who your accomplices were, you'll only get 1 year in prison. If you don't tell us, you're looking at about 30 years. Okay, so my accomplices were: never count your cash in public, even if in singles, and wrap the big bills with a $1 bill. Never yell back at a group of guys verbally harassing you. Just keep walking. Don't make a face. Don't change your walking pace. Keep going as they are not there. Facts. I was stupid and told a group of obnoxious men to go F themselves. While I was walking in a public place, I was swarmed and surrounded faster than I thought possible. A few cops broke it up, but not until after I had a black eye and a busted lip. Just keep walking and say nothing. In crowded areas, carry bags, purses and packages in front of you rather than behind you, and put your wallet and other important stuff in a zippered compartment deep inside. Pickpockets only got my Macute bag instead of my wallet when they pickpocketed my purse. The Macute bag served as a decoy. I live in a country with a very high crime rate. If I'm going into a dangerous area, I use a whole handbag as a decoy. Inside is a broken cell phone and a decoy wallet. Everything else is in a thin bag strapped to my waist under my clothing. And yes, about 10 years ago someone ripped it out of my hands and ran off with the decoy handbag when the train stopped at a station. It wasn't too bad back then, but these days don't take the train in South Africa unless you want to be mugged. If something feels wrong, it's probably about to be really wrong. Listen to your gut. Lock your doors as soon as you're in a car. Had a friend who got into this habit. She hopped in her car one day and there was about a 0.5 second difference between the lock activating and a random guy yanking at the passenger side with a knife. Stay safe out there. Most cars unlock the driver door with one button push and all doors with two. Don't hit it more than once if you're alone. Someone can get in the backseat way too easy. Security guards, doormen, food cart operators, and blue-collar workers in general are well versed about the location of the nearest restrooms. I like that all these top comments are about how not to get murdered, and then there's just one about finding a toilet. Confirmed ex-HVAC technician. I can recite the coordinates to every single speedway in town. Walk on the road. If you're in a real shady neighborhood and it's late at night, not in traffic, but away from alleyway entrances. I used to have a regular route through a seedy part of town and I always figured people walked in the middle of the road there because life was hard and they just didn't give a F. Never occurred to me that it could be a safety thing. Rough neighborhoods also often have poorly maintained sidewalks and or a bunch of junk or litter on them. So walking in the street is often to the path of least resistance. Yup. Especially in sketchy suburbs, middle of the road you are the furthest distance away from all potential hiding places for people with ill intent. Don't raise your voice with strangers and always be the last to speak. You don't know if these guys are wired properly or not. If an attractive woman asks for directions, look for her partner behind you or going into your car to take what they can grab. Typical vacation area scam. Walking in Vegas one night, I had not one but two. My car won't start. Won't you come into this alley and help me fix it? Women try to persuade me to help out. Like, nope. Kept walking. Wait. Like a literal alley. TBH. I'd be offended that she thought I'd fall for it. Ah yes. You just happened to park your car in an alleyway for it to break down. And the funny part is, I'd be dumb enough to fall for it. I'm just a naive person that likes helping. Look with your eyes, not your head. Also walk with intent. Don't look meek or unsure. Even if you have no effing idea where you are going. Head up, body posture up, like you got business in place. You are less attractive target if it looks like you might fight back. I read that same great advice in a book called The Gift of Fear. Talks about listening to all those little red flags going off in your body when danger is near. Use your peripheral vision. If someone is blatantly violating social norms, such as blasting music on the subway or taking a phone call in a movie theater, keep in mind that if they are willing to violate one social norm, they are probably willing to violate others, including prohibitions on violence. You don't have to be meek in the face of obnoxious people, but you do have to factor in the increased likelihood of violence. If you're in the hood and you see kids playing outside, you're probably safe. If there are a lot of people outside but no kids, be super cautious and walk with a purpose. If it's empty or only teenagers/young adults, get out ASAP. If you're in the hood and the children scatter, that's your cue to scatter. They might not completely read the situation, but they know when the energy changes. I lived in South Central for a while, and although I never personally experienced anything that bad, this is exactly how I'd describe it. The energy can just change at a moment's notice. I remember one day going out for groceries at the store around the corner and parents were walking with their kids. Ice cream trucks were out, etc. And then when I finished shopping there was this noticeable shift in energy, like something just felt darker. Everyone was gone and it just felt eerie. I went home, and then like 20 minutes later heard a bunch of sirens, and found out a dude across the street got shot and died. Always get the money up front. People who want to pay later probably won't, and then things can get messy, and count it there and then. If it's wrong, if they underpaid you, you don't want to go back later when they can deny it and accuse you of trying to rip them off. Count it, and if it's wrong, tell them they made a little mistake so they can save face. Doors and corners. Always remember the doors and corners. That's where they get you. Humans are too effing stupid to listen. If someone approaching you says, "Hey man, I ain't gonna rob you," they're probably gonna try to rob you. Similarly, if someone is asking you for help, but you need to follow them around the corner to help them, don't politely say you're late to a meeting and keep walking. Robbers aren't allowed to lie about being robbers, though. Confirm the license plate and make sure you are getting in your proper Uber/Lyft. When my wife and I were in South Africa we took a lot of Ubers, We always confirmed the plate number, and instead of getting in I would ask, who are you here to get? There have been too many cases of people getting into the wrong car and getting robbed, arred, or murdered, sometimes all three. We never had any issues. Additional tip, I was told, if two people are in the vehicle it's most definitely not your Uber, and if it's followed closely bar a car with more than two people, also probably not your Uber. If something feels wrong / scary and makes you uncomfortable, throw a sap. Sure, maybe something might not happen, but like Mr. Miyagi said, best way to avoid trouble is no be there. Always put something between yourself and the ground, even if it's just a piece of cardboard, especially on asphalt. It absorbs heat, and it will feel like it's sucking the life out of you. That's a very street tip. Yup, I spent one night on the streets, and although I had a blanket I ended up really cold. Eventually had the smarts to dig a couple newspapers out of the trash. Way better after that. Trust your gut. If anyone seems a little too friendly, get away as soon as possible. I'm a professional investigator / interviewer. The reason you feel uncomfortable in these situations is your lizard brain sensing the dissonance between the body language and the message. Always trust your gut. As a former recruiting cultist, people that are suckers for too friendly were our top demographic. Street ain't the place to have a free therapy session. It's a place to get reasons for long and expensive trauma recovery. Exercise your legs. Although in a bad situation they'll probably feel like wet noodles, if needed you'll be able to run. It will also show in everyday life that you are capable of moving effortless. Most people are sluggish, and it's not hard to notice. Bruh, I had to sprint from one side of an airport to another to make a connecting flight, and Jesus, I realized how my legs and mobility were, despite being in relatively, I thought, good shape. Exercise your legs. I also made the flight with minutes to spare despite having to slow down to a walk halfway through the sprint. Know where the exits are at all times. I have watched video of the station nightclub fire too many times. Any place with a large crowd of people and limited exits, I memorize how to get the F out of the building as quickly as possible. Also try to get seats as close to that exit during the event. There is no shame in running away from a fight. You win every fight you avoid. Those who run away live to fight another day. Won't they just run away again? Especially if you are outnumbered. Get out of there. Ron White said it best. I don't know how many of them it would take to kick my A, but I knew how many they were going to use. Blend in everywhere, even if you're faking it. And if you're faking it, get out as soon as you inconspicuously can. My wife never understands why I say this. Her natural inclination when traveling is to unfurl a huge paper map and erratically walk around a public square with it in front of her, looking very confused. I'm amazed she has any possessions. Then she looks at me like I'm crazy for discreetly leaning against the wall and using my phone to look at a map. I could easily be texting. No one will target us. My partner and I look out of place everywhere when we are carrying our cameras. We honestly look like the touristiest tourists ever. Surely you can't be that conspicuous, some of you will say, to which I'll just say this. In Barcelona, everybody, servers, anyone service or tourism related, random people in the street, talks to us in English. We are Spaniards. When my sister moved into her apartment in Harlem, a neighbor later told her to make sure she kept her doors locked, and next time, cover up her belongings, because now, the whole neighborhood knows what kind of TV you got. If you are involved in confrontation, pay attention to the hands. Two things: if they reach into their pocket and or under their shirt, you are likely going to be hit with something, stabbed, or shot. If they are tucking their hands by their hamstring and or clenching their fist while looking you up and down, you're about to get punched. Run or take the fight to them, because if either one of these things are happening, you're already the underdog, and something like 90% of first punches in a fight are overhand rights. If there's nobody where you are, there's probably a reason, and you need to leave ASAP. Listen always and speak only when you need to. People don't know when to shut up. Also give the least amount of details. Giving people your whole life story is not needed. Exactly. Every time I read advice like that, I remember the scene from The West Wing where Babish was prepping CJ for testifying due to the investigation of Potters for covering up his manuscript. Babish, do you know what time it is? CJ, it's insert time here. Babish, I want you to get out of the habit of doing that. CJ. What? Babish. Answering more than what was asked. Do you know what time it is? CJ. Yes. Never show your watch, wallet or phone in areas known for pickpockets. Also don't touch your pockets if you see warning signs, because a good thief will be watching to see which pocket your valuables are in. And when approached by someone on the street, be mindful of who else is watching and what is behind you. Try and keep everything in front of you, and don't be afraid to shout and swear at them to get attention. If someone puts a gun or knife in your face, don't be a hero. To piggyback on safe environments, every other minute give a quick glance around. Occasionally look behind you real good. I grew up in a rough area and had friends get robbed and pistol whipped when I was younger, so I always developed do this technique. Other good ones for rough areas: say what's up first. I was in Harlem on the train platform about 1 AM and a group was coming down messing with every person they came by. I gave a way early what's up and head up nod, not head down, and I just got back a sup and stares as they rolled on by. I use this when passing bus stop etc too. Looks like you're the one to avoid lol. Also for anywhere in the US, if you're somewhere and there are lots of women and children, you're probably in a safe environment. But if you find yourself on a street alone, or in the same environment as before, and it's later and most of the women and children have left, it's time to leave. My street has a bike rally every year, and it's very family oriented during the day, but at night it's not, and for over 20 years someone has gotten shot or stabbed at that event. Always at night, when it's 90% dudes. Follow the women and children at night. Got it? Always check the toilet paper roll before taking a dump. If I finish the roll in a public stall and there isn't more TP available, I prop up the seat with the empty roll. Saves the next guy from shuffling to the next stall with his pants around his feet, doing the Lord's work. Typhus. Always look like you know where you're going, even when you don't. Done this all my life. Now I'm not even sure if I'm on the right side of the globe anymore, but I'm still walking straight forward looking all confident. See, yeah, I was gonna post this. Thieves use that as a sign of a victim. Looking nervous or flat scared is bad too. If a motorcycle with 2 people on it slows down near you, run ESP in South and Central America. When you stop your car, always make sure you have enough room in front of you for an escape route. It's impossible sometimes, but do the best you can, and don't be afraid to run them over if they are trying to kill or kidnap you. If you notice somebody following your car whilst you're driving, try and drive in a circle by taking consecutive right or left turns and see if they are still following you, and don't stop at your home. Keep going, because then, not only is some sketchy creep following you, now they know where you live. Fighting is not like the movies. Many people won't fight fair even. You never know what a person's got in their pockets, like a knife or any deadly weapon for that matter. Also seen people go back to their car and get a piece. Also on the other side of the coin, you shouldn't pull out a weapon unless you absolutely know you gonna do some damage, cause that same weapon can be pulled on you quick. If you see something potentially illegal going on, don't look directly at them, especially if you know that you're not going to be reporting it to the police. Was once on the subway when I heard a loud metallic clatter. Looked over to see what it was. Some dude behind me had dropped his gun. Immediately went back to looking dead ahead and then got off on the next stop. You should have picked it up for him. People have no manners these days. I got verbally accosted by some man in a parking lot who thought I had seen whatever illegal she just did, even though I wasn't even looking that way at all. I just didn't say a word and kept walking, but he kept yelling and said he was getting my tag number, which was unsettling. Dear drug dealers, maybe don't schedule drops in a refine Publix parking lot and you won't have to worry about onlookers. My friend accidentally witnessed a huge exchange in the parking lot of a motel. He knew BC he was outside for a cigarette, and it was like 3:00 AM. These dudes pull up and start loading bags from a room into a car with one clear leader looking out. When the leader spotted my friend, he immediately pretended to be blackout drunk, even dropping his cigarette, but repeating the motion of bringing it to his lips to smoke. He wanted to look incoherent. He went back into his room, locked his doors, and didn't sleep the rest of the night. Walk right up to them, and in my best Ned Flanders voice, "Hey there gentlemen, what watcha got there?" Putting my head down and pretending to cry. has helped put people off when I see stuff. Like, I'm wrapped up in my own world. I don't notice yours. I've had people I've witnessed seeing dumb stuff even say like it'll be okay and tomorrow will be different. Like, after they were talking about how to break in somewhere, it was surprisingly sweet. I'm no snitch, so I'm glad I figured a way to at least get that out of their mind. Haha. Used to live in a bad area of major metro. Whenever friends would visit, the one rule was always you don't look. I don't care how crazy of a sound you heard, or what crazy thing caught the corner of your, or what crazy thing the guy we are walking by is trying to tell you. If you pay it attention, you are going to end up involved, whether you want to or not. Silence is scarier than talk. Listen more, talk less, learn everything. A red traffic light is just a traffic suggestion to some people. Always keep an eye out at intersections for idiots running a red light. Mama always said, graveyard full of people who had the right of way. If you're in a bad neighborhood, for the love of God, stay in well-lit areas. The shortcut through the alley will cost you more than the time it saves. But I wanna be Batman. You pull that stunt, and you're not gonna be Batman. Your kid is gonna be Batman. Don't act like a victim. Walk tall and keep your head up. Beware of people who have nothing to lose, and people who have everything to lose. Well, if you're traveling, never randomly stop on the sidewalk to consult a map, or appear visibly lost. Duck into a coffee shop or something to orient yourself. Ain't no coffee shops in the hood, my boy. Duck into a metro PCS instead. Don't duck into a coffee shop in Amsterdam though. You'll probably disorient yourself. You don't have to smoke there. You can also just play chess with someone and give the cat head rubs. I travel quite a lot, so some things I have realized. If you find a gas station and all the windows are covered by ads, so much they can't see outside, well that is because they don't want to be a witness. If you stop seeing sidewalks, a lack of street light walking signs, or no more stoplights point, that is not where you need to be. Always keep a change of clothes and some water in your car. Never know when you need it. You didn't see this is so true. Local arcade / bowling alley. I walked in on these two huge dudes doing blow. Made eye contact with the one that looked up as I came into the bathroom, got challenged, said I didn't see anything, and went to wash my hands. As I leave they offer me some for being cool. I don't wanna ref with coke, so I said I'm all good. Dried my hands, left the room. Always keep your eyes and ears open, but see and hear nothing, and keep a short memory. Look both ways before you cross, bro. Look both ways, even if it's a one-way road. Mind your own business. If you see someone doing something they shouldn't be doing, that isn't hurting someone, drinking on the train, stealing, illegally selling stuff, keep it moving. Don't stare either. Trying to get a stranger to abide by your version of right and wrong can end in you getting jumped very easily. So yay, if it isn't hurting anyone, it's not your business. Don't put a target on your back over some moral high ground. If someone starts to loudly state that they've lost their wallet or phone, don't obviously or immediately go to check on yours in your bag or pocket. It's a common pickpocket technique to get people to show the pickpockets where their stuff is. Instead search the wrong pocket and scream me too. Grab your crotch. Safe you. I didn't lose mine. And smile intimidatingly if someone asks you for help, like my car won't start, or really anything. Don't help them, but offer to call someone for them. I learned this 10 years ago. I had to do a thing in the bad side of town once a week early in the morning. I would get there 5:00 AM. They opened at 6 o'clock, but I wanted to get in and out and leave. There were a few other regulars at that time for the same reason. One I befriended was a lady named Kim. We were both there one morning. A couple of guys pulled up in their car 100 foot from us. They got out, lifted the hood, made some noise, called us over to help them. They were having car troubles. Kim told me to stay where I was. I shrugged and said okay. She walks over. They talk a few minutes. They drive off, and she comes back. Kim says they didn't have car trouble. They were going to rob us. I say seriously, no why did they drive off then? Kim says I showed them the gun in my hand. Then she showed me the gun in her hand. I said oh, okay. Stated tip, don't help them, but offer to call someone for them. Actual tip, have a gun. Lol, I don't think you are actually saying that, just funny to read it that way. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. There is nothing free in this life. Nothing you want. I had just moved to New York City. I was leaving work in Midtown when a big tall dude with dreads stops me. Among other things, he tells me that he was drawn to my Gemini energy. How the hell did he know that? And said that he wanted me to have this and handed me an opal ring and walked off. I have never been so confused in my entire life. I was sure it was some kind of scam, but he just gave it to me and left. I still have that ring, and I think we might be married now. He's only right 1 in 12 times, but damn does it blow their minds when he is. Never commit a misdemeanor while committing a felony. Examples: don't jaywalk with an illegal gun on you. If there is a body in your trunk or drugs under your seat, make sure your inspection and insurance are up to date, all your lights are functioning properly, and your tint isn't illegal. Good call. I'll be sure to check my taillights before the next time I need to move a dead body. Legit, this is exactly how serial killer Joel Rifkin got caught.